So before we get started, I just wanted to show you some of the things you're going to need to make your sun catcher. We have some wet strength tissue paper, a small bit of PVA glue. We're going to add some water to that. We'll need some scissors, a pencil, a willow frame, which I'll show you how to make shortly, a paintbrush, some string, and of course all of your lovely nature treasures. We're out on our nature walk, our nature bike ride, to try and find as many different leaves as we can. And here we stopped at a field maple. You can see the pattern of that leaf, and the other secret sign is these keys, these lovely lime green keys that you can see, and that's a maple. So looking up at the oak tree there, you can see definite shape. It's quite a unique leaf, the oak tree, one of my favourites. Ooh, it's blowing in the wind.
This is a horse chestnut tree. Look, it's here. Do you like it? Yeah, and I found this conker.
Okay, so we found our willow tree. Willow is what we're going to be using today to make our sun catchers. So this is the sort of tree that you need to find. Okay, lovely long oval leaves on a long sort of new branch. That's what we're looking for. And you know that in Lovelyland all plants are magic. So this new growth on a willow is actually called a wand. So we're looking for a willow wand. And here's Elvie harvesting a willow wand. She's holding on to the main branch and then lifting the new wand up and away. Really easy. There we go. So we have a lovely long wand here, willow wand, and we're just going to strip the leaves off, hold the main stem and work your way down, taking all of the leaves off. You can leave the top ones on or just get rid of them if you want to. But the great thing about willow, it's one of my favourite trees. It doesn't look the strongest of trees because the wands are so sort of thin and long, but it's the strongest tree because it can bend. It's got a superpower. So we're going to make our sun catcher frame out of this wand, and to do that we're just going to wrap the willow around the bigger stem all the way down, even get the leaves wrapped round, and then at the top, the big stem at the top, we're just going to tuck it under, okay, to make our frame. And that is what we're going to make our sun catcher with. So the first thing that we want to do is draw around our willow frame that we've made. You want to make sure that you've got enough tissue paper to wrap over the frame. So I'm just going to draw a rough shape around, doesn't have to be measured, just do it roughly, but leaving a gap all around your willow frame, and then we're going to cut that out. I'm going to cut two of those out because you're going to need two, a top and a bottom. So once you've cut out your tissue paper, meet me back here and I'll show you the next step. So now we have our tissue paper with the wide edge around our frame. What we need to do next is make our magic solution. So if you take your PVA glue, and you can see I haven't got a huge amount in there, it's only got to cover 2 pieces of tissue paper, but it's too thick. If you paint this straight onto your tissue paper, then it's going to become really hard and you won't be able to see through the tissue paper. So we're going to add a little bit of water. I've got my little cup here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it and give it a really good mix. Okay, I'm going to keep mixing that until it just looks like a thinner paste of the PVA glue. Okay, so I'm really giving it a good mix. You can ask your grown-ups can help you with this to get it to the right consistency, and it should be sort of quite runny. There you go, you can see it dripping a bit like water there. Okay, so that was just PVA glue and a splash of water. And with this magic solution, we are going to paint our tissue paper. So you just want to splosh it on all over, and you'll see the tissue paper soaking it up. And we want to totally cover every single piece of tissue paper. So that's your job, get it all on there. And it will go a bit wrinkly and it will become a bit see-through, You'll be able to see the table through it. It's a bit of a messy job. You can put some a cover down if you want to protect the table, but I just find my table gets covered in all sorts of glue and pen, and we just wipe it off afterwards. It's fine. So we keep going. You want it totally saturated. It's a good word. Totally soaking wet from the solution that you've made. Just doing the top bit now, and then that should be all of it covered. Now, because we've added water to this solution, this glue's not going to dry very quickly. Okay, if you haven't got enough water, then you might find that your tissue paper dries out. So you can always sort of start again with a sort of thinner solution. Now you've got to be really careful because we don't want it to tear, but we're going to just flip it over, and you're going to do that all over again, okay, on the back. So we totally want this piece completely covered. So there, okay, completely covered in your magic solution. So what you're going to do now is you're going to place your frame on top, okay, and you want it in the middle. You want a nice band width of tissue paper, okay, across it. And what we're going to do now, we're going to add some string. We're going to add our string to the top of our willow frame. And we're just going to do that really simply by just tying it on. Now we can, you can use ribbon or wool or string or any other kind of natural material that you can find. We can fasten it and make it look pretty later, but I'm just going to tie it on for now because once you start wrapping, okay, it's hard to add the loop, the frame later. So we're ready to start making our sort of skin for our frame, and our hands are going to get a bit sticky here, but that's all right. We don't mind getting our hands dirty. We're just going to fold the paper over the frame, and if you just start, you can start anywhere you want. Just really gently pull those sides up and fold them over the frame. Gets a bit fiddly. What I like to do is just dab a bit of our magic solution on there and sort of just paint them down so they stick onto the willow, and tidy up those edges, push those little bits in underneath the frame so they keep nice and neat. But it doesn't really matter, you can just fold them straight down onto the paper like this if you want to. Okay, I like to just tuck them in like that because I like it neat and tidy, but you do your own thing. Okay, and then we're going to do the wrap all the way around that frame, and then you can meet me back here for the next step. Okay, so now you've got your frame and it's all neat and tidy and tucked in, we're going to actually start creating our picture, our nature picture. So we've got lots of things to choose from. Some of these gorgeous lavenders I'm going to definitely put in there. I'm going to just break the stem and make them a good size to go in there. You don't want anything too bulky in here because it might be a bit tricky to sort of like secure them. But a few little flowers like this will look great. So I'm going to pop some lavender in there. And also I've got some of these leaves that they've already been sort of pressed. So they've been flattened inside an old book. And that's how I've done that. So if they're nice and flat, then it helps keep the picture together. But if you're on your holidays, just stick them in, just stick them all in, and we'll see what happens. So I've got some nice little purple flowers here, so I might just dot those on the bottom there. But you can do whatever you like. These are cute actually, I like these. Some nice colour, purples and browns and reds. So once I've got my picture, I think that's pretty cool. I love that. So we're going to paint over all of our nature treasures, making sure that they get a really good soaking of solution. You can't really put too much on as long as you don't go through the paper, and especially on things like these sort of lavender that are popping up, you really need to coat them in lots and lots of glue. Okay, so I'm gonna whip and do that, and then I'll meet you back to show you how to put the final cover on. Okay, so now we've got our picture, it's all covered in that lovely gloopy solution. We're going to pop our second sheet of tissue paper, okay, so you can cut these circles out at the same time, on top. And this is the layer that's going to hide your art picture, your nature picture, until the sun shines through it. So don't worry if you can't see the nature treasures, that's the point. We're trying to hide them in this picture, okay? Special picture. Okay, so here we go. So you know the drill, lots and lots and lots more glue. We really coat it well. We want it to be saturated. You'll start to see the nature treasures coming through. Try and be gentle. We don't want to rip the paper. That would spoil the nice sort of surprise when it hardens. So you sort of put loads on, but just be careful, be gentle, be mindful when you're doing it. Make sure you're covering each little bit and sort of saying hello to all your nature treasures as you go along. There we go, saying hello to my purple flowers. And then painting right into the sides and trying to sort of join the two sides of the paper, the bottom and the top, as you go along. So here we go. So now we're painting into the sides and we're pushing all of that paper into the frame. This bit is sort of quite important to get it neat, but again, you know, it doesn't have to be neat, just go for it, do the best you can. Okay, so then we fold over these edges and we get them all wet and we try and stick them down best we can to the frame. So I'm going to whiz round again and just do that to make sure all of these sides are stuck to the frame as well as they can be, and I'll meet you back here. So that is your sun catcher pretty much made. Okay, we're just going to turn it round and there might be a few ends that you can sort of paint down and tidy up a little. We let it dry, it goes nice and hard, and when you hold it up to the light you're going to be able to see your secret picture inside shining through. Okay, and that's why we call it a sun catcher, because the sun is going to catch all of your beautiful nature treasures, and you'll only be able to see them when the sun shines through your window. So it's a really special nature picture.